Welcome to this installment of Thank You for Your Service. My name is Tom Heiser, and I will be your host. Today we have the privilege to talk with Betty Vogt, who was a member of the Waves in World War II, or Women Accepted for Volunteer Emergency Service. Betty, thank you for your service.
You're certainly welcome.
Thank you. You were a teenager when the war started.
Yes.
Do you remember even listening to Roosevelt's?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Where were you living at that time?
I was in Milwaukee.
Okay.
I was at home. I lived at home with my mother and my dad.
Okay. And then you joined the Waves.
Yes, I did.
There's a little interesting story about that. Could you tell us that story?
Well, I had a brother that died when he was only 15 years old. And of course, then when the war started, I thought someone should be there to represent our family. And of course, I right away wanted to join, and my mother wouldn't sign because I wasn't old enough, but my dad did. He figured if I wanted to do that, and I was 20 years old, I could, and he signed for me.
Okay. So the Waves.
Waves, women accepted for military service.
Okay. So you joined the Waves, which
Emergency service, yeah.
Right, which is part of the Navy.
Pardon?
The Waves is part of the Navy.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So when you
Yes, it sounds like it, right?
So where did you have to go to join the Waves?
Well, I joined in Milwaukee, but then I had to go to New York. And I went to school, and then I had to go to another Naval Air Station where I was going to be stationed. I had quite a good choice, actually, at that time. And so I was stationed at the Naval Air Station, Memphis, Tennessee, is where I was stationed.
So when you went into the Waves, did you have to go through basic training or anything like that the rest of the Navy people did?
We had to go through regular basic training. Yes, we did. And I passed.
Okay. So where did you take your basic training? Was that in New York?
Naval Air Station, Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay. So when you finished basic training, what did you go to any advanced training, or did you have to learn anything new, or?
Yeah, well, I went to another advanced school to what you were going to do, where you were going to be stationed. And I was stationed at the Naval Air Station, Memphis, Tennessee, where they taught flyers how to fly. And then I was just in the office there, and we helped, grade the flyers and made sure that they were able to take the tests and everything to be able to fly. And there was a lot of sadness there, too, when they didn't make it. And so you learned a lot there, really, you did. So it was certainly worthwhile part of my life, I'll tell you.
Okay. So you're at Naval Air Station Memphis. Is that a pretty large base at the time?
Yes, yes.
And it was a training school for pilots.
Right.
So there'll be naval pilots, or did they have Army pilots and every?
No, the Navy and the Air Corps, the Coast Guard,
Okay.
So, but the Army had their own.
Okay. So these pilots that you're working with, are they fighter pilots? Are they bomber pilots, or all of the above?
All types of pilots.
Okay. So this was their basic training where they learned how to fly.
That's right.
Small planes, big planes?
Yes, definitely. They started, of course, with the smaller plane, the Piper Cub, and went on from there, to the larger planes. but it was a primary training base.
Okay, so you had all these young guys coming in all the time
Right.
to be pilots.
Hopefully, definitely.
So they're about the same age as you, 20, 21, 22 years old.
Pardon?
So the age of the pilots is about the same as you, 20, 21, 22
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're not old guys, they're young guys.
No, they were pretty young. Yeah.
Okay. So did they graduate from your school, or was yours just a basic school and then they went on to another school to learn?
No, they really graduated from there, and they were able to go to a base and start.
Okay. Was that a bombing school or was that just a pilot school? Because I know there was a bombing school in Tennessee also.
Well, that's all combined,
Okay.
actually. I mean, you learn how to fly, but you learn how to you learn everything.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you're in the office.
Well, yes, I wasn't bombing anything, that's for
Right.
sure.
But I mean, you said you greeted the pilots when they came in there and made sure that they got where they're supposed to.
Right, right.
So your job was pretty busy.
Well, I enjoyed it, and it was. I was anxious, to do my part. As I said, that's why my dad decided for me to go in service, and so I really I enjoyed it.
Betty, you saved your uniform
Yes,
from when you were in service.
yes. Yep.
So that's actually your uniform.
Right. That was the aviation storekeeper second class.
That's pretty good. So people had to come to you to get things, didn't they? People had to come and see you if they wanted some things, didn't
Oh, great.
they? Okay, so you're in Memphis. Do you remember approximately what year you got down to Memphis? You know, was it 1942,
No.
43? Okay. Your whole career, did you spend at the Naval Air Station in Memphis, or did you go other places?
No, it was when I was in service, I was at Naval Air Station, Memphis, Tennessee. And then after when I got out, I went back home and was married.
Okay. But your whole career was at Memphis.
Yeah.
Were you at Memphis when the war ended?
Yes. It was a Naval Air Station there, and we taught pilots how to fly.
Right.
And then it was kind of easing down, about that time and everything. So I was glad to get home.
Oh, I bet you were.
Yeah. But I was certainly happy to have done my share,
Well, you did.
whatever it was.
It was part of the service.
Yeah, and yes, and that was funny because that's how my dad felt if I wanted to do that. That's why he signed for me, because my mother, I was her only daughter. She wasn't going to sign for me to go into service, because I had a brother that passed away, and so.
So did the waves, did they stay mostly in the United States, or did
Yes,
some of them go?
yes, they did.
So you knew other waves that were working there with you. You weren't the only wave at that.
No, there was
Yep.
there was a lot of us.
Became very good friends.
It was a good experience, very good experience. And as I said, I was glad to be able to do my share.
Right. What was your everyday life like when you had your daily job that you had to go do, and afterwards, what did you do? Just go back to the barracks, or?
Yeah, well, yeah, we had, it was like you were going to a college and we're in a dorm. That's the way it was, because they had things to do. and we could go to the movie or whatever we wanted to do, and we could eat there. So actually, it worked out fine.
Good.
Now, eventually you could move away, like if I was married or something, that would be a different situation.
But you stayed pretty much on base? Or
Yes, I did.
Did you go into Memphis at all?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What was it like in Memphis during the war?
Memphis was a very nice city, really. It, to me, reminded me of Milwaukee, where I lived. So I got along fine.
And a lot of these young pilots that came through, are they pretty scared or are they pretty fired up about being a pilot?
There was a whole variety, believe me. But on the whole, they were very intelligent. I found them all intelligent and personable. I think U.S. did a pretty good job in choosing them.
So if a person showed up there to be a pilot, about how long did they stay there to learn to be a pilot?
Oh, it depended on what type of flying they did, what they were going to be doing. It varied,
So
definitely.
from a few weeks to a couple of months to
A
half a
couple
year?
months to a year or so, really just depending.
So they come in, they'd have to see you, right? Did you have to get them orientated or sent to their respective places? They stayed right on base also?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like a base, regular base. And of course, they went to school.
Right.
But no, no, I was happy to do my share.
Right. But you said, did any of them come in that already knew how to fly, or did they have to teach them how to fly right from the beginning?
Oh no, they had to teach them how to fly this. Yeah. A lot of them were very well acquainted with flying. They didn't come in pretty, but on the whole, you saw a lot of heartbreak there too when they didn't make it, I'll tell you. It was very sad. But, well, it's the way it went, You had to be prepared for everything.
So if they didn't pass, they went on to a different job in the Navy.
Yes, they went on into service. They were still in service, but they went on to wherever they were needed at that time.
So some of them could have still been like a bombardier or a gunner, still involved in an airplane,
Yes,
but just not a pilot.
yeah, on the whole, yeah, definitely.
Okay. Some interesting times. You saw
Yes.
some interesting things.
Yes.
What were some of the things that you did see that were interesting to you while you were in service?
Pardon?
What were some of the things that were interesting to you when you were in service?
I think meeting people from all over the country actually is what you did. To know, gee, they're not too different. You went to this school, you learned the same things, really, reading, writing, and arithmetic, And on the whole, of course, we were farther south, we could do a little more in the winter, which is good. We didn't have to go ice skating like we did in Wisconsin. But on the whole, it good experience.
Would you recommend going into the military to other ladies as well?
Yes, I would. find no reason that I would not recommend it to anybody. I think it was good. And as I went to parochial school and I went to a private high school and things like that, so this whole situation was very good for me too.
Learned a lot.
Yes, you learned a lot, and I kept it.
So, what were some of the funny experiences for you, Betty, that that happened that you kind of laugh at yet today?
Funny experiences?
Yeah, something that, when you were down in Memphis that was funny, that still makes you laugh today, that something happened.
Oh, gee,
They weren't all bad experiences.
I can't think of anything right now.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, Betty. That's okay.
I just remember having a good time and meeting a lot of people. And, I had never done a lot of traveling before out of Wisconsin and that. And it was good experience for me to find out people all over the country, how they're pretty good too,
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed it. And I told you my mother wouldn't sign for me, but my dad did to get in service, and so I had to make him proud. And so
So you met a lot of people from all over the country.
definitely. And that was good experience for me too, because when I was growing up, I went to Catholic school, and I went to Marquette University, and so I was kind of in a nice group of people all the way along, And here that you learn to choose well.
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the best experiences that I have ever had. Choose well.
Okay, so you did
And I still do.
very good.
Yes.
So you did your service in Memphis, and then it was time to get out of the military. What did you do after you got out?
Got married.
Okay.
Yes.
Came back to Wisconsin, or?
Yes, in Wisconsin, yeah.
Okay. Whereabouts did you come back to? Did you come back to Milwaukee, or? Mm-hmm. And what did you do after service and you got married? Did you go back to work at all, or?
Have children.
Okay. That's a job in itself.
Yeah, it's a job in itself. And we had a home in the suburbs in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. It's just a suburb of Milwaukee. And so that's in itself is a job.
Exactly. I noticed you have your American Legion hat on from Brookfield.
Well, see, Brookfield is a suburb of Milwaukee, really.
Correct.
Yeah, and so that was where the Legion post was located, and it was only a mile from where I live. Actually, it was closer than the ones in Milwaukee, and it was a nice one. And I started going there to different functions, and thought that's where I'd want to join, which I did.
And you went there for many, many years, correct?
Yes, yes. In fact, I still go there.
You still go there.
Yeah.
Were you one of the few female veterans? Because so oftentimes the men come back and join the American Legion, and their wives join the auxiliary. However, you were a member.
Yeah,
because-
that's right.
Because of your service.
Well, sometimes they didn't like that as well as you're being equal to them, you know. You had to kind of step slowly, you know. But no, it worked out fine. I never had a problem.
You've always been treated as an equal.
Definitely.
Okay. So when you got out, you got an honorable discharge from the Navy, correct?
Yes.
That's quite an honor.
Yep. I always thank my dad because he just could understand my feelings, you know, and wanting to go and urged me on, and so then we got my mother over to my side too, so worked out.
Have you gone on the honor flight yet?
Pardon?
Have you gone on the honor flight?
Yes, I did. They went to, it was about a year or so ago, I think. Yes, I did. It's very nice. Feel very proud, I'll tell you.
Well, you earned it.
Oh, I mean, that's why you think, boy, did I do this? Did I do that? You know? But no, they were very, very good and very nice, and I was very happy I went.
What was the most memorable part of that trip for you?
Oh, I can't tell you right now. I haven't thought about it for a while, you know, and I think just the idea of being there with that many people that I could converse with, and we had a lot of things to talk about where we were in service, and it worked out really well.
Nice World War II memorial, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah. Yep.
Would you recommend all veterans go on that trip?
Pardon?
Would you recommend that other veterans go on that trip?
Oh, yes. Yes, I definitely. I would recommend anybody, any veteran should go on there. It brings back certain memories and ideas of why you went into service to begin with, way back. And it just is a good idea.
One of the things that you mentioned is you got to talk to other people. Those are people you didn't serve with, but yet you have a camaraderie with them because you're already a veteran.
Yes, definitely.
Learn a lot from them. Did you by chance meet anybody that had gone through Memphis at all, or?
No.
Okay.
At that time, it was busy, you know, and you don't have time to ask, can I go here or can I go there? You went where there was room.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But the conversations you had with the other veterans, those are good conversations, weren't they, on the honor flight?
Yes. A lot of nice people in this world, I'll tell you. You find that out.
But it's fun being with other veterans.
Yes, yes.
Anything else that you can remember about your service that you want to share with us?
Like,
Well, some of the good times, some of the things you remember about service, you know, some of the funny things, the interesting.
oh, I wish I'd have thought about this earlier.
That's okay. We got some time.
But it was nice to really be recognized for being in service to a lot of strange places you went and new places you went, and to be introduced you know, being in the service and all of that. You feel pretty proud of yourself, really, that you made that decision, and we're happy you did.
Exactly.
Yes.
You recently received a quilt of valor. How did you like that quilt of valor that you received?
Pretty nice.
Keeps you nice and comfortable and warm.
Yes. Definitely.
Okay. Betty, I want to thank you for your service. Thank you very much.
Well, you're
This was
welcome.
very entertaining and very informative.
Well,
Thank you.
You're welcome.